Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I would like to read one of my essays on one of my favorite authors of all time, Edgar Allen Poe. He has been one of my favorite writers ever since my childhood. I grew up watching the films based on him, and I grew up, of course, reading the stories and the poems of his. Uh, As you all know, he was the first one who invented the horrific short story genre, and despite all others who have attempted the genre since, Poe remains the best in my opinion when it comes to the horrific short story genre, and he was a very talented poet too. In fact, he was the first one inventing the short story genre. Obsession has always been a central part of Poe's writing, combining it with nightmarish fantasies throughout his stories. Obsession, I guess, is obligatory, to all creative minds, whether it be a painter, a poet, a storyteller, a sculptor, etc. Poe was not an exception. As to why it obligatory to be a little obsessed as an artist, I hope I will manage to reveal that during my essay. Well, there is very little joy in Poe's work, to be honest. He had a very tragic life. Love, hope, and happiness are always shown as something to lose, to provide a fading glimpse at values from which the blackness of the tragic end stands out more clearly, and these endings, well, I think are very essential, including the main part of the tortured and misunderstood artist, writing the pages, painting, sculpting, etc., and eventually breaking down and falling into a tendency of self-destruction or death. Because the ones blessed to be creative or talented are doomed to be standing out of society like a sore thumb, and Poe was not an exception. Living with Poe's chosen art form, words are flowers that were once blooming, giving redemption to their creator, a god that is mortal, but over time the flowers are not that curious to the world and fade into a pleasant, nice place 6 feet under. Edgar Allan Poe twisted this main theme, and in one of his short stories, Bernice, the protagonist goes 6 feet under to bring back a corpse. Creepy, isn't it? Creepy, isn't it? Uh, you know, Poe's genius lies in not just his very outstanding style of writing, but also his way of showing the world there is something beneath the surface of one's desires and aims, something that is more abiding than anything normal people could ever dream about in their minds. And being honest, he shows that what is abiding and divine isn't necessarily nice. He, like many creative artists, try to cope with his own God-given gift or curse through self-destruction. I don't have to go into detail to Poe's life. I'm sure the reader who takes the time to read or hear this piece of mine knows well this important factor of Poe being present obviously in his works and screaming for recognition. If you ever read Poe, Edgar Allan Poe, and of course having some wit doesn't hurt to find the answer to the brutality and nightmarish images portrayed in there. I think the word nightmarish fits his strange word, his strange life, and his strange art form. I would quote one of his poems, really hitting the spot, I think. Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream. End quote. It's very thought-provoking, and I can't help not telling that it's one of my favorite quotes from Poe. As I said, it hits the spot, so I don't quote it for no reason. Indulge my being a little abstract now. There's a dream in everyone's heart, I think, and the chosen ones, I emphasize again, the chosen ones like Poe, dare to vanish in the dream filled with beauty. There's a fog in the dream, very mysterious, waving and smiling to the artist. One is bound to see it sometimes evil, dark, because the best friend of the brave who enter the dream has always been mortality. So simplicity may be the most crucial factor of Poe's talent, genius, because he is very harsh. He doesn't try to cover up the truth by manufacturing a sort of intellectual omnipotence. The problem with many intellectuals, I have met many, that they debunk the simplicity and the truth and simply just gaze into confusing and useless ideas, covering up their own denial to just look and see the world as it is. These intellectuals don't try to reach and just feel the simplicity, they are plagiarizing all over, always something that makes their weakness look superior. Poe is one of the artists who dealt with simplicity, and his whole work is an analytical biography of the unknown which is death, mortality. And sadly the brave one like Poe entered the dream and had trouble getting out or into the fog. In conclusion, mulling over what I discussed, I think it's interesting that some of Poe's readers complained to the editor when the mentioned short story Bernice was published in the Southern Literary Messenger in 1935. This was early in Poe's career, and he reports the subscription of his genre was over 700. Poe's potential as an acclaimed author grew within a very short period of time. The public opinion transformed these rather abnormal and unsettling cries of a very unique and gifted storyteller. Moreover, his inventive style also opened the door for many contemporary authors, writers, to experiment this new genre, the horror story genre, striving for being able to reach the unknown too, at least a bit, and not feeling into the illusion of experiencing the unknown as deeply as perceived it, and exactly like Edgar Allan Poe. Many have tried, but many couldn't be successful. But there were some other writers who were brave enough to face death, mortality, and simplicity. So this was my essay, and I would really like to quote this wonderful and beautiful quote from Poe: "Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream?" Think about it, my friends. Bye now.